on the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Daniel Triple D Dubois and guess who? Jake Paul. And this is the news, okay? Jake Paul has posted a DM from Daniel Dubois, the IBF heavyweight champion, today, and saying that he will accept his offer to challenge him for the IBF heavyweight world title. And this is what Jake has said. He said, well, hey, man been boxing for 12 years, has over 100 fights between amateur and pro, and fought on my undercard. But F it. I'm going to have Nakisa talk to Frankie Warren and get you in line for the throne. Unlike Artur, at least you have a few thousand fans. Okay. And then, of course, he has the inbox, the proof that Daniel Dubois actually inboxed him, for calling you, let's get it on, the legitimate heavyweight title, and how Jake Paul has responded with a ticket counter. Get in line. Let me counterpunch. Now you guys just see why it wasn't a good idea for Artur to call out Jake Paul. Because if legitimate champions are calling out a guy that, sure, he's popular, he has a big fan base, but he's not a true boxer. And if people know he's not a true boxer, why couldn't we just respect that for what it was? See, some people think, oh, well, he's good for the sport of boxing. Oh, he's good for boxing. He's bringing a lot of people that don't know about boxing to the sport. Well, what he's doing, he's bringing people to see him. He's not really bringing people to the sport. He's bringing people to see him fight or participate in a sport or use the sport for his own platform, okay? And what's happening, he's making massive amounts of money doing it. It's almost like Jake Paul is the replacement of someone like Floyd Mayweather that was actually a legitimate boxer. But it shows you what starts happening when you start picking fights and you start doing things that you don't supposed to do in the sport, like Floyd did. Floyd knew better than to do what he did, but he did it anyway. So what someone did like Jake, he picked up Floyd's model and was like, I'm not a boxer. I don't really have to be. I can train to be a boxer. I'm just a better self-promoter. I'm a good businessman. So I have a good business model. Floyd already invented it years ago when he wasn't really fighting people, that people wanted him to fight until I guess it was time to make the money and then he would fight. That's what Jake Paul's doing. And Artur calling him out just makes it look like, it makes our sport look dirty and desperate. That's what it makes it look like. It comes off like, okay, we're reaching out to a person that is not a true boxer. He has no amateur experience. He has no true roots in the sport of boxing, unlike myself and others that have put in the work, the time, for this sport. Not saying he didn't love the sport, but the whole thing is he used it. He could have used UFC or something like that. But then, of course, those UFC guys, aside from UFC, they would have knew who the true was versus the non-true. He's blending it all in. And now these guys that are actual champions, that are undisputed champions like Artur, calling out Jake Paul, and I understand the motivation because you just beat up an icon that could barely walk in there. He couldn't even move. He looked like a decrepit old man. Sure, you took it easy on him, but I mean, he didn't even have a fighting chance anyway, and then yet you still stayed away from him. But then now, since he has the attention of real legitimate boxers, it makes boxing look cheap, dirty, and desperate. It does. Daniel calling him out, just beating Anthony Joshua. And the first thing Jake did to our tour was, oh, at least you got a few thousand people that follow you and fans that know who you are. See, now it's starting to look like boxing is not even on the level that Jake Paul's on. Like boxing needs Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? And what they don't understand is he will never fight nobody like that. He's not. That's why he said we'll put him on the list, get in line. So that means, and it tells you that anybody should know that Daniel Dubois' IBF heavyweight legitimate title means nothing to Jake Paul. He doesn't care about that. Why would he though? He has all the money. He's just made $40 million doing what he did, fighting a 58-year-old man that's damn near a senior citizen. So why would he need the IBF? Why would Daniel feel its need to call him out? Sure, it's a voluntary, but you want to use Jake Paul as your voluntary? You want to cheapen the sport of boxing, calling him out? I know AJ's not fighting you. I get that. But dang, dude, you go to AJ to Jake Paul? That's such an insult to the sport. I'm sorry. It's an insult to the sport for Daniel doing it. And I know Daniel's doing it for the duckies. Daniel's always did it for the money. Yeah, he's fighting all the good guys and he wants all the tough opponents, but it's about the money. That's why he wanted to fight AJ again. And I get it, but Jake Paul, bro, don't be the second. And I understand he would destroy Jake Paul. That's not the point. The point is Jake is using that for fuel because he knows damn well he's not going to fight someone like Daniel Dubois. But now he could always say, you know what, the heavyweight champion of the world called me out for a fight. So if anybody else under that, that's how it should be anyway. He will never be legitimate, and you guys are helping him. You guys are helping him, giving him opportunities that he don't need. That could be any other tough fighter that you're just throwing away to fight Jake Paul, and he's doing it for the money. He got a kid on the way. I get that and all that, but understand, there are fighters, just he's doing the same thing Floyd did. There are fighters that actually deserve a shot at you that has been doing what you do. Don't cheapen our sport by bringing Jake Paul's ass in it because Jake Paul is already doing enough in the sport by cheapening it by him just being there. The only difference is he has money. He's like the anti-Turkey al-Sheikh, but he's actually in the ring fighting nobodies, claiming to be the best. And now the best fighters are calling him out, and he's using that as fuel. And it's terrible because he'll never fight him. But now he could always say, just like Deontay Wilder, when he got offered $100 million, hey, I'm worth $100 million because someone offered it to me. So you raised his stakes by doing something foolish, desperate, cheapening the sport, but asking him, oh, well, hey, yeah, let's get it on. Let's fight. And it may sound good or whatever, but Jake's not going to do that because Jake knows the minute he goes in, there was someone like Daniel Dubois. He is fried, refried beans, and he will refry cook. Okay, that's what it is. But the thing is, it's crazy. And people seen that money that Tyson received $20 million. You think Daniel Dubois don't want $20 million? From a business standpoint, I get it. But for the sport of boxing, Jake Paul will show you that there's a difference between what he does and who he picks versus how boxing is actually formulated and how it's structured. Those are two different worlds. And he's not going to bring them together because the last time he had tried, he failed with Tommy Fury. So you think he's going to want some of Daniel Dubois that's going to knock him out and make him look crazy? No, because the last loss he took was embarrassing. He couldn't even go anywhere. He ran off and he was all embarrassed. And you know what I mean? Yeah, so he didn't take that loss that well. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Daniel Dubois calling out Jake Paul for a fight. The attention this man is getting is crazy. I will go live in a couple hours. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.